be home by 9. Hell, I tell her that most of the time. Whoa, baby, don't know, won't hurt her too much. Whoa, I'll tell her where, but I won't say what. Oh, now I'm dancing, oh, I'm dancing. I'm dancing with the devil. Oh, now I'm dancing, oh, I'm dancing. I'm dancing with the devil.
Welcome back to the Otter Creek and Rio Grande and another structure build. I'm getting started on the Atlantic Cable Mine boiler and hoist house. Now this kit can be built up in several different configurations. I'll skip to the end and kind of show you some of the different variations that you can build. And I've pretty much decided I think that mine will end up being this one right here, which is just a little bit shorter than my mock-up was. I think I can get rid of the extra addition that is on the far end of the building as it's mocked up at the moment. So I've gone through the instructions, and as is with every one of these Wild West model kits, there's not a lot of wordy instructions, which is both good and I guess could be bad depending on who you are. But you know, it starts out with giving a parts list, telling you kind of what you need to do. We've got battens we can add again or leave off, and just really kind of tells you at the very beginning how to do the windows, and then from there it's pretty much just pictures. So paying real close attention to the pictures is important. And what I'm doing right now is making sure that I understand all of the tab and slots for how the model goes together in the configuration that I want. And I'm pretty sure that I've got it all. So this is the main structure. And so there's the option for that if you didn't want to kind of make it bigger, is you can build up through step 5A. Which is right here, and then you lop off this end wall here, and then you've just got the narrow version of the buildings, and that's this wall right here. You would just lop off this section and it would build up narrow. I'm not going to do that though. I'm going to add this. Let me move the things. This is the boiler room, and it interfaces with the rest of the building right here. This goes right there like that, and then this wall connects here at this end. And there's already a little anomaly, and that's that for whatever reason this wall, how it's slotted right here, this slot doesn't go in far enough to accept this. So, and what's weird about it is I can't find any other wall that would fit instead of this, so I think that's just a manufacturing glitch. So what I'm going to have to do is cut this whole thing off and then glue the wall on, and then trim this accordingly and maybe glue it back on at the end. So that is where I'm at the moment. I'm pretty sure this is how it's going to go together. There is a coal shed. Let me show that. This is the coal shed add-on, and I believe that you can scab it on to either end of the larger building. So I'm not sure which end I'm going to put it on. I'm for sure going to build it. I just don't know where it's going to go. I won't make a decision whether I glue it on until I'm kind of ready to put things in place on the layout. So I'm going to do what I normally do and kind of do a process, come back and give you my thoughts on it and let you know how it's going. I've got the windows built up and the doors completed, I believe, and I'm in the process of kind of test fitting all of the windows into the walls themselves along with the doors. So it's typical construction. You've got a total of 6 pieces counting the glazing. You've got the frame, the outside frame, and you've got a ledger on the bottom and then a runner on the top. And then all of these are a 2-piece item as well. And then you're going to have 2 pieces of glazing that go on the back. Now, there's probably one thing that if I were going to complain about the kit, it would be the doors. And, you know, I had the same issue with the doors on this kit as the previous one I just did, the head house, but I don't think I even mentioned it in that video because I decided I didn't want a door anywhere on it, so I didn't even include the doors. But, you know, the instructions, this is it. You get this picture, and this picture is really all you get, and there's no verbiage anywhere explaining. So you're kind of left wondering, or at least I was, what exactly is this piece? Because it shows no detail. It shows this one with detail, but then even down here, you know, what is that piece? And the best I could surmise is you get this, and then you also get a sprue that has these, which is just kind of like basswood with the engraving. So I inferred from the instructions that you glue the basswood on to the back of this wood to get a door buildup. But then you still end up with these left over, and they don't go on to anything else that I can tell. I mean, maybe you're supposed to glue these back to back for the other doors that I'm not building. Maybe that's what's going on. You're going to find out that if you do glue them back to back, you know, you've got this little detail right here of a door handle, but then it's a reverse image. Well, actually, yeah, it's a reverse image, so that, you know, the hinges don't line up for where the door frame is, which is probably no big deal because you can't see both sides of the door at the same time. So that's my only, really, you know, going through this whole thing, that's kind of my only complaint is that, you know, they give you the parts list, but they don't give you the parts list on a sprue, and they don't really explain which parts you glue together. So you can see you get two of these, one of these, one of these, one of those. But adding all that up doesn't really make sense with what you get on the sprue. All right, that's it. I'm gonna move on, try and get all this put together so I can start gluing some walls together. As you can see, the structure is together now, with the exception of the coal bin that, you know, sits on the outside of the building. And I did put the battens on. And what I'll say about the battens for sure is it's going to double your build time without a doubt. A lot of time spent putting the battens on. Now, you'd absolutely do not want to make the decision to put the battens on after you put the building together. Now, I think when you put the roof on, if you've stopped your battens at the very edge of the roof, which is, you know, kind of the easiest way to put them together, the way your roof interfaces with the battens, you're going to end up with an air gap in there, which is not that big of a deal. I don't think you would ever see it if in a normal situation. Now, you'd have to get an extreme kind of underneath viewing angle to see an air gap in there. But if you're going to light it, then that would create a problem. You'd have a lot of light leakage. So, you know, I've been in the process of going in and removing kind of a little bit of the top of those battens so that I get a good seal all the way around everywhere where the roofs meet. So keep that in mind if you're going to light it. Now the next thing, you know, putting the building together, and this isn't a huge deal, but if you look at the instructions have you put this together first, no big deal, and really it doesn't matter when you do that as long as you do it before the rest of it. They say to put this section, you know, this wall and this wall together and put it on this before this wall. In my rehearsals of putting this thing together, I found it much easier to glue this onto the base before that piece. So, and it's probably not that big of a deal, but it just went together a lot easier in my opinion, because you're dealing with this landing on both of these pieces, which really not so much this one, but for sure this one. And you're going to find that if you've run your battens all the way from the top to the bottom of your wall, that you're going to have to remove some of it for this landing here. But other than that, you know, it went together really well. If you decide to brace it like I did, just make sure that on these pieces of bracing that you use, if they're not completely square, in my experience, a lot of these will be fairly square on one side and then kind of jacked up on the other side. Make sure that you're picking the square side, and that square is interfacing with your wall corner, because it can cause problems when it glues together. And I don't know, there's a few places in here where the corner material doesn't hide the interface of the wall very well. So, you know, that's another thing to kind of keep in mind, to make sure that the tabs and slots meet as perfectly as you get them. If they meet, you know, really well, then you'll be able to hide that. And if they don't meet so well, then you might end up with a little bit of a gap where the trim meets. So the next thing I'm going to do is start to work on the roofs. And I've already gone in and I've removed, you know, a lot of the material. Really? Sorry about that. I've removed a lot of the material, not a lot, but, you know, enough that the tabs and slots for the roof easily go on, because I'm still not 100% sure how this is going to sit on the layout. I think I've made the decision that instead of it facing this way or this way, which are kind of the two different ways that I thought that it was going to face the aisle, I think I've decided that this is how it needs to fit, which, you know, means that the cable from the mine would need to go in through these two walls into here, which is where the hoist would fit. And in this area is where the boiler would go. So I think that's where I'm at, is making sure that the roofs can come off and on, because, you know, if I do face it this way, I'm going to have to put a boiler in here because there's just too much room in there. And that's also where this roof piece fits. And so you got two huge smokestacks that should come out of here. And if I've got two open doors, you know, there's going to have to be something in there that explains the smokestacks. And I'm looking at a two boiler for this area that comes from Builders and Square, and I think it will fit perfectly. I just don't know if the smokestacks on it, if I can replace them with what comes with the kit or vice versa. So, all right, enough babbling. I'm going to get on with finishing the roofs. I'm finished up, I think, as I'm gonna get for right now. The roofs are still removable, and I'll talk just a little bit about the roofs. So the kit comes supplied with several strips of this paper, and it's corrugated. You have to look pretty close. I don't know if I can get it to focus or not. You have to look pretty close to see the corrugation. What I did was I painted all of them up, at least what I thought I needed, and I ended up having to do it twice because I didn't paint enough up initially. But I used a raw umber, and then I dusted the top of it with kind of an aluminum gray color that I mixed up a bottle of what I call corrugation color, you know, for corrugated steel, and dusted over the top of it, and just tried to make sure that that there was a variation of how much of the corrugated brightness mixed in with the raw umber. Now, as far as the fit goes, everything fit really nice. You know, I did go through and make sure that all of the slots for the roofs were a little bit wider, so there would be no, you know, kind of having to fight with it too much. One thing I will mention is don't expect the smokestacks here to just fit perfectly into the holes. And the tabs here to hold the roofs together, the centerpieces here, they've got notches in them that kind of work as a saddle for the smokestacks to go down into. And I would strongly suggest, before you glue any of this together, to kind of dry fit it and see how the smokestacks fit down through there, because it's not going to be at, you know, the angle you want them to be, and you're going to probably have to file, and it would be much easier to file these holes without these already glued in, because that's what I did. I had this glued in before I figured out that the smokestacks were going to tilt over at like a 35-degree angle or something. Now, as far as the weathering goes, there's really no weathering at all on the building other than the roofs. I did go in with some Bragdon powders and kind of create some areas where rust ought to be. And I used kind of 50-50 the black that they have in that weathering powder kit. They've got like old rust, which is really too bright, and I mixed it down kind of 50-50 with the black or the soot color, and then applied it. And it's still maybe just a little bit too red in places. I think this side is kind of when I decided I needed to add just a little bit more black. So, and then I've also got the coal bunker, which it will fit right here, which really looks nice. I like the way it worked. Now, as far as overall materials, you know, I don't know, I can't remember what I said at the beginning of this video, but I used Cordovan brown for all of the wood except this section right here. I used Builders and Square silver wood for it, and then all of the interior I used Builders and Square deadwood, which is probably my favorite non-stained stain color. I like it on the interior. The kit does not provide anything for the top of the roofs. Like I went with angle iron. I think that's 1/8 inch angle iron. Nor does it provide anything for the eaves. So, you know, I just used, I think those are either 1x6. Yeah, I think it's 1x6 material. Might be 2x6, I can't remember. But I used that because the kit doesn't provide anything for there. So I think I'm going to call it good until I get The boiler that's going to go on the inside, I think that's the only thing I'm going to add, other than, you know, some barrels and things that I'll do when I put it in the scene at a later date. I think that's all I got, guys. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned. I think the next build that I do will be this Bantam Model Works water tank, which will sit just up the hill from this and provide water for the boiler. Thanks for watching.